couple who tried to get two different insurances of car damage fixed in one insurance claim have not only had that claim declined, but their insurance cancelled. It's prompted a reminder that being dishonest with insurers can have wider repercussions. It all started when the man said he hit the fence of at a friend's place. He reported damaging to the front driver's side and the left passenger door, but the repairer spotted signs of three separate incidents, including damage to the back of the car. When the insurer dug deeper, the man admitted the back damage actually happened days later at the supermarket, but he'd originally claimed it was from hitting a letterbox, which wasn't even there. Because of that false statement, the insurer declined their claim and then cancelled their policy. The couple took the complaint to the Insurance and Financial Services Ombudsman, but the Ombudsman, say that 4 times, backed the insurer's decision. Well, I will have to say it again, because the Insurance and Financial Services Ombudsman, there we go, and Chief Executive Officer is Karen Stevens, and she joins me now. Karen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and well done, Leah. It is such a mouthful, that word, isn't it?
Oh, my gosh. But I got
okay.
there. I got there.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
No, well done.
Karen, is this a classic example of how little white lies on insurance claims can have a serious, long-lasting consequence?
Yeah, it certainly is, Leah. And I think that the problem that we see at the Insurance and Financial Services Ombudsman scheme when we get these types of complaints in is that people have no idea what the consequences are going to be of either telling little white lies or very big lies, or alternatively just being reckless in terms of not caring, what they say and not checking and really giving the wrong information and thinking, oh, well, it's okay, the insurance is going to pay, because often if something looks dodgy, or even if it just looks a little bit odd, an insurer will investigate. And the thing is that the way they deal with it is that if they have to pay out claims that are not genuine, then all of their customers end up paying more in premiums. So it's really important that if you've got something that you're not sure about, that you tell the insurer. 9 times out of 10, it's probably okay. And in this instance, it would have meant potentially that these particular customers might have ended up paying 3 excesses, but they would have had the claim paid, and moreover, they would have still had insurance, and as soon as you make a false statement, really an insurer is not going to be that interested in continuing the insurance.
In your view, Karen, do you think it's the main reason is they just try to sneak in a few more dings and bits and bobs to avoid paying that excess fee, the separate excess fees?
Sometimes, definitely, but I think too, the financial climate's a bit tough for most people at the moment, and so it may be that they don't want to have that extra $200 or $300 going out, and they can't. A lot of them don't actually know why it's important or what the problem is with doing that anyway, and I think therein lies the problem that we see most often, that people don't really understand insurance particularly well, and so doing these articles for us is a really good opportunity to engage with consumers to say, just be really careful, because it's so important that you've got insurance when you need it, and you don't want to blow it by telling little white lies or doing something that's going to put your insurance in jeopardy, really.
Is it quite common, Karen? Do you have is there any, at the top of your mind, other stories, recently they've come across your desk?
Yeah, no, it is common. One of the ones that we had out of the Auckland floods, and I'm mentioning this now because we know it's been really tough for people in Nelson, Tasman and Motueka in the last week, is false claims being made that the damage was due to flood damage as opposed to something completely unrelated. So in the Auckland floods, we had one guy who said that his car had been damaged by flooding, and it turned out that he'd taken it to the mechanic just a couple of weeks earlier, and there were problems with the engine and all that sort of thing. And he ended up, sort of fessing up and saying, "Oh yeah, look, sorry, I shouldn't have said that." But by that stage, it's too late. And so people have to be really careful and think it through and realise that if they do tell lies and they get caught, it's going to be really tough for them. So it's that sort of thing. Travel claims, we often see false statements being made or dishonesty of some sort about people losing things when they're overseas, jewellery, cash, cameras, and that also can be really problematic for them. We had a woman who travelled to Fiji and said that her engagement ring fell off her finger in the sea, and at the same time she also dropped her brand new iPhone in the sea. And you sort of look at these things and you think, yeah, that's really interesting, actually. How would you do that? So I think if there's ever, a temptation that anybody has to think, oh, well, it's okay, I'll make a claim and the insurer will pay, they need to think twice, because in a lot of cases the insurer won't pay and they will find it very difficult to get insurance going forward.
How do you prove something like that, Karen? Like for that woman, how do you prove that, what she said wasn't true?
Well, that was a really interesting one, Leah, because she was asked for proof of ownership of the ring, and she sent a photo through that she claimed to have been taken at her wedding. And it was a photo that had been taken off the internet. And, of course, with all the tech whizzes that you have around these days, they were able to show that. And when they asked her for more photos and said, you've got to have more photos of your wedding that you can prove that, this was a mistake, and all of the photos from her wedding had disappeared off the face of the computer. So, that I think people get themselves into real trouble when they make one false statement, and it just seems to snowball. And then, of course, they get really into a position where they've got nowhere to go. So it's better not to start.
As my mum said, you start one lie, you got to remember it, and then there's another one, and it all gets all too confusing. So you've said a few times now that, be careful, because not only will your claim be denied, but you could or will be dropped by your insurer. Does that mean it affects a person's ability to get insurance with somebody else? There's something called an insurance claims register, isn't it? How does that work?
Well, if there's a dishonest claim or anything that raises an alert like that for an insurer, they will put that particular claim on the insurance claims register with a flag. So most of the time that the insurance claims will go on the register, but that's fine. It simply acts as a history of claims, if you like, so that when you're asked how many claims you've had, again, it's always advisable to tell the insurer how many you've had if you're changing insurers, because they can find out. When you're flagged on the claims register, though, you're flagged because there's been a claim made that usually has something to do with dishonesty in some respect or some other aspect that the insurer is concerned about, and that will be there for the next insurer to see. So if, for instance, you have been dishonest, then it's unlikely that another insurer will be willing to give you cover. And now it might be on a motor vehicle, it might be on your house, it might be on contents, but whatever it is, it's going to be reasonably significant and serious, particularly if it's a house and you need insurance for your mortgage. So again, it's something that at the IFSO scheme, we really want consumers to understand, to know about, so they don't fall into this trap. Unwittingly sometimes, because if we go back to the false claim that you mentioned that we put out last week about the
wife didn't know that the husband had claimed that, did she? Was that her?